Hi, everybody. My name is Jerry Wise, and I've been a life and relationship coach for over 40 years, helping people to self-differentiate and recover from dysfunctional pasts and childhoods. This video is entitled 8 False Beliefs That Control Your Life. These are the core beliefs that truly make a difference in our recovery, and to address them can make a huge difference in feeling better, recovering, and feeling a greater sense of self and self-differentiation. I hope that you'll join my YouTube channel, click the subscribe button, click the bell button, click the join button, and become a paid member. It's only $1.99 a month, and it helps me create more free videos for you. These do take a lot of work and effort, and support from those who enjoy my videos would be greatly appreciated. I also have a master class coming up on December 5th, 2020, on Saturday from 1 to 5. It'll be 4 hours. It will be on Zoom, and it'll be a live workshop with me. There'll be lots of fun things that we'll be doing. More on that later. 8 false beliefs that will control your life. Often we have many self-limiting beliefs which control our lives. If we've experienced narcissistic abuse, or grew up a child of an alcoholic, or had a parent who was a narcissist, or were a child of divorce or abuse or many other dysfunctional families, we will learn and believe, even as deep as the unconscious level, many beliefs which control our lives. And these I'd like to share with you are the 8 most common ones I have found. Number 1, there's something wrong with me. I am unlovable. I am inadequate, basically defective. I'm bad. I am insignificant. I'm important. And therefore, if I let people in on who I am, or if I am truly me, I will not be loved, accepted, and cared for by other people. I remember one of the beliefs that there's something wrong with me is I feared acting or feeling stupid or doing something embarrassing that might be perceived as being embarrassing. And there was such shame involved that I am shameful and full of shame. And that was one of my false beliefs that I grew up with. In other words, this belief is that I am exceptional, only in a bad way. I'm exceptionally bad. With these false beliefs, we suffer the imposter syndrome, particularly for ACOA or ACONs, adult children of narcissists, adult children of alcoholics, and many others experience the imposter syndrome, that if you really knew me, you wouldn't like me and you wouldn't love me. We spend our lives hiding or trying to get others to like, love, and accept us when we don't like, love, or accept ourselves. Therefore, I can never accept, know, or be myself. I can't know myself. With this belief, I can't accept myself, nor can I be myself. Because basically, there's something wrong with me. So I can't be me. Because to be me is to be wrong. That is a false belief that we have been imprinted or taught. Again, we feel we are defective. Often this belief is imprinted through shame or shaming parenting, or abuse, or alcoholism, or drug addiction, or all kinds of things that can happen in families, divorce. The family pain can produce these beliefs as well, especially if we become a scapegoat. Number 2, Second false belief. I am powerless over how I feel. Other people or outside events are responsible for making me unhappy or happy. Other people are responsible for my hurt, anger, guilt, and disappointment. I just can't help how I feel. Nobody can, is the belief. Nobody can help how they feel. My good feelings come primarily from others' approval, and my bad feelings from their disapproval. Both are myths. I do not have the power to make myself happy within myself or to take care of myself in the world. I have to rely on other people, things, processes, or substances to make me happy or to take care of me. Therefore, I am a victim. And I am told by many, feelings are automatic. I have no control over them. They're just automatic. And I remember working many decades in the recovery community and in the therapeutic world of therapists and coaches, and I've heard from many that feelings are just automatic, Jerry. You can't do anything about those. You just have to do something opposite of those, or don't accept them. So many times we feel powerless over our reactivity and our feelings we believe are caused by others and external situations. But if you look in the real world, how come some people are not reactive and don't have the same feelings when a similar event happens to them as when it happens to you? Maybe those feelings they may be automatic for you, but I don't think it's true that we are powerless over our reactivity or our feelings. I think we can learn to become empowered over our reactivity and over our feelings, especially if we can understand them more, understand them from a self-differentiation approach, and understand them as false beliefs. We can begin to get our feelings under control, and it can really change within us if we do that. But the truth is, we can change our feelings by resisting our reactivity, by resisting systems feelings. See my video on true feelings versus systems feelings, and by reconnecting with ourselves and our inner adult and inner child. See my interview with Margaret Paul recently, who wrote the book Inner Bonding. You would be surprised how much you can change your feelings and how you're not just a victim of them. Because not only can we be a victim of other people, we end up being a victim of ourselves if I'm powerless over how I feel. Now I'm a victim of myself and my own feelings. And we don't have to be a victim of either. Thirdly, other people's feelings are more important than mine, and I'm responsible for their feelings. This is a common one believed by probably 99% of the people in the world. Dr. Margaret Paul states in her book, Inner Bonding, which I would strongly recommend you get, when others feel hurt, disappointed, or upset because of something I've done with no intent to hurt them, I'm wrong and it's my fault and I deserve the guilt I feel. Making myself happy, again with no intent to harm others, when others want me to make them happy, it is therefore selfish and unloving and therefore wrong if I try to make myself happy. To be a loving person, I have to sacrifice what I want for what others want. And that is a common misconception. And it goes along with this false belief that other people's feelings are more important than mine and that I'm responsible for their feelings. Again, I feel I cause others hurt, disappointment, anger, upset in others. If I care for myself and not change or try to fix their bad feelings, then I'm just being selfish. It's so illogical. It's so false. And I remember giving an example in one of my earlier videos about the family prayer. I was a pastor at the time, and I knew my mother wanted me to pray at all of our family gatherings. Well, I really didn't want to do that and have that burden tossed onto me because I happen to be a pastor, and that I must always do that every time. I just didn't choose to do that. That is my preference. It isn't necessary that I do that. But to say no was to create in others hurt, create in others disappointment, create in others anger, create upset in others. And for me, I was very worried about needing to fix their bad feelings, and so I would comply. Then I began to work on the work of self-differentiation and began to say, no, wait. I'm saying no with no intent to hurt anyone. I simply am setting a boundary. It's not a desire to not be a part of the family or not even occasionally pray for the meal. I don't mind that. I just don't want the appointed role of doing it every time we are together. That's what I don't want. But again, my concern was, if I do that, I will cause a bunch of bad feelings in other people. That was a false belief. And as I began to walk out a more self-differentiation or self-differentiated move and saying no, and that's a long story that you have to watch that video about that, it began to free up all of us in the family to do what we wanted to do and not just go by whatever mom wanted us to do or whatever certain people in the family wanted us to do. I hope you'll please join my YouTube channel, and I hope you'll sign up for the masterclass on reducing your reactivity on December 5th, 2020. Number 4, false belief. I can control what others think of me and how they treat me. I can make them like me or love me or be open to me, or by being good, nice, open, vulnerable, compliant. Or I can make them treat me how I want to be treated by getting angry or righteous or blaming. Either I can be the victim or I can be the Viking. Neither one often gives us the result that we truly want for the long haul or in a healthy way. Many of us live as we believe we have the power to control others' feelings, to like me, to accept me, to love me. But like is unconditional, acceptance is unconditional, and love is unconditional. So it's not about performance. It is hard to earn that. Now, that doesn't mean we can't be nice or be acceptable or be loving. It doesn't mean we can't do those things, but those things are given to us as a gift. It's not something we earn in that respect. It's something just like respect. I know respect should be earned, but respect should also be given. And in some situations, we betrayed that respect, and then we may have to do some things to help change that system and change that pattern. One of the difficulties in getting people to see how false a belief this is comes from us having short-term gains or success by making people happy, getting someone to like us, and hustling for love. You know, it does work, but it often ends up not being true love that we get, not getting true acceptance that we get, and not even getting true joy. We get a temporary, superficial love, acceptance, or joy. And it's not long-term, and it's not even based on the real us. It's based on the hustling us. And that's not the real us. Being good, nice, accommodating, helping, caretaking can make people like, love, and accept me. Not really. It's only a myth. But the opposite is also true. If I get angry, reactive, righteous, or blaming, I can make them feel differently about me. These tactics do not change things for the better. Good or bad, others will have their own reactions and feelings and beliefs about us. They have to decide whether they want to change those or not. Because if they want to change them, then maybe we can work on seeing me differently. But I cannot make them change. Fifthly, resisting others' control over me is essential to my integrity. As soon as someone wants something from me, I have to do the opposite, even if it's something I want to do or I want to give, or I will lose myself to that other person we fear. In other words, we feel this overprotective side of us, an overreactive side of us, that if someone's trying to control me, I have to blow up really big and I have to be really reactive to counter it. There's a difference between resisting control and pushing it away versus letting go of the control or the rope, as I call it, between us, and standing in the confidence of not being controlled. Because what's interesting is, except for severe situations, no one can control you. I realize a judge can, a policeman can, an abusive person could. I realize there's situations in extreme cases where that's the case, and those take special work and special help. But for most of us, no one can control us if that's not our choice. I'm the one keeping in and holding on to the rope and keep pulling on the tug of war and pulling the game of tug of war with them. Resisting is the only way for me not to lose myself. The problem is not that others have control over you, but that you fear losing yourself because you are not firmly connected to yourself. The reason we feel so much like we're going to lose ourselves, and we call that engulfment, and we can have a fear of engulfment, which keeps us under the control of others, and we are not connected to ourselves, so we fear that engulfment, or we become reactive and push people away so that we aren't controlled. And actually, their control is controlling our reactivity. So it's paradoxical. Even though we're resisting being controlled, we are resisting the control, so we're still in the game of the control. And what we want to do is step away from it and let go of the tug of war rope. And that's what I train and help people to do, so that they no longer need to resist it, fear it, or even believe it's actually happening. That we have control of ourselves. They only control us with our permission, our unconscious permission. Number 6, false belief. I can't handle pain, discomfort, fear, hurt, grief, disconnection from others boredom, disappointment, shame, or aloneness. I have to protect myself from these feelings. And I have to protect myself through anger, caretaking, and withdrawal, and activities such as sex or work or with substances as alcohol or food. And again, we oftentimes feel we need to protect our feelings with anger. And anger is a secondary feeling. We always want to find out what's underneath the anger and the primary feeling. And often we feel we can't handle those feelings, so we just express ourselves in anger because we don't feel we can handle those deeper primary feelings. We have the fear we would not survive our own feelings. And I absolutely remember having an experience of that. When I was much younger, my dad passed away many, many years ago. And probably passed away 35 years ago. Like 35 years ago. I remember fearing my own grief or sadness that I would have when he would die. My father had a stroke, which paralyzed him on one side, and he lost his speech. He was a principal of the school I went to, so I was a principal's kid. That was great fun. Some perks, some problems. And I knew his days would be numbered, that he's not going to live a long, long time when you have a stroke that's so debilitating like that, because that causes many problems. He had difficulty walking and all kinds of struggles. And what was so heartbreaking was that when he wasn't thinking about it, he could talk for a brief time. But then once he became conscious of wanting to talk, then he couldn't talk. It was such a cruel illness and a cruel disease. I was so avoidant of my sadness and fear of grief and fear of losing him, I did not want to even touch those feelings because I thought I would be overwhelmed by them. And so many of us have grown up in which we've feared being overwhelmed by our feelings. We just couldn't handle it. And so I didn't do very much of the pre-grief work, which is healthy for us to do. And that's where we do the preparatory grief before a problem occurs. If your parent becomes ill, though they may not be terminally ill, but if they become ill and they're older, it's probably not a bad idea to do some preparatory grief of that. Because the more we begin to process that grief, not that we want them to pass away, we want them to remain with us, but not that we want them to pass away. But I'm starting to get in touch with those feelings so they may not feel quite so overwhelming. I thought I would just not or could not survive the loss of a parent and the painful feelings I would feel. And I think I lost my mother about 3 years ago. And again, thinking, can I endure that? And I would tell myself, of course you can. Remember, if you lose someone who truly matters to you, you will feel grief and sadness. And that's it. You're going to feel grief and sadness. And that you're able to get through that. But I thought it would overwhelm me. And in fact, I thought any of my feelings would overwhelm me. Shame, guilt, fear of engulfment, abandonment. I thought they all would engulf me. The fear of these feelings and avoidance of these feelings, which was much worse than the true experience of these feelings. I did have a fear of death and a fear of others close to me dying. But it is a myth and a false belief that we would not be able to endure our true feelings. We can also feel them. We have more control over feeling them than you might realize. And in working with people on feelings work, many times it can be done in a slow baby step way that they don't have to become overwhelmed by their feelings. We just weren't trained in that. We weren't imprinted in that. We didn't see role models for that. False belief 7. If I change others, then I will be changed as a result. False belief. This is an external solution to our own self-work by changing others. If I can only get my family, my husband, my kids, my parents to be happy, healthy, more mentally healthy, more understanding, more accepting of my life, then my life will be changed as a result. Good luck with that program. Excuse me. You know, one interesting thing in family systems dynamics, many of us are not even prepared for our family to be mentally healthy, mentally mature, more accepting, more loving. We're not even prepared for that. And we think we are. We've been programmed and imprinted to have them behave and act out their roles too, just as they have imprinted us to act out our roles. We just think we're ready for them to change. Because many times I've had parents actually changed and it's thrown the child or the client off because the parents did change and they weren't sure what to do with all that. When a parent became more self-differentiated, more healthy, it was very difficult for them. We don't change by changing others. This is a fantasy, a myth, and a delusion. We can change by healthy giving to others, by healthy helping of others, by healthy loving of others, but it cannot be achieved for our own purposes or to change us as a motive. Because then it's not real helping, real loving, and real giving. It's done to protect. It's done to get acceptance. It's done to get the hustle of love or acceptance or caring from others. And it has a paradoxical effect of making it non-effective. Number 8, the 8th false belief. If I only work on changing me, it won't change other people. If you notice, the last 2 false beliefs are paradoxical. To work on you by changing others will not work. To work on changing me can in fact change others. But I have a lot of people that have a resistance to working on themselves because, number one, they want the changes to come much quicker. You just got to make these people around me change, Jerry. Teach me how to do that. And it takes a longer process to change me so that it then is contagious or affects them. But that's where I've seen real changes happen. And I've given lots of examples in my videos of people who have succeeded in that. How families have been changed because one person changed. To try to change others will not change you. To change you will oftentimes change others, but it cannot be for that motive. And that's a family system maxim. Leo Tolstoy wrote, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." Rumi, in a quote, states, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself." Roy T. Bennett wrote, "You cannot change anyone, but you can be the reason someone changes. And Jacob M. Browd writes, consider how hard it is to change yourself, and you'll understand what little chance you have in trying to change others. I want to thank you for watching today. Please subscribe, click the bell, become a paid member of the YouTube channel. Sign up for the workshop. I hope you'll follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I want to thank you for joining me today. Have a great day and be wise.